Hello, you're watching my YouTube channel. I'm your host, kamranarshad. Today, I've invited a guest to my vlog, and I'm very excited that I am gonna discuss her life, her visions, her goals, and most importantly, her faith. Hello again, and welcome. We are delighted to have Taina Teskila today with us. But to kick off, Taina, could you please tell us what inspired you to pursue a career from a doctor to actress, right? And perhaps share a bit about your journey leading up to your current role. Taina, over to you.
Okay, all right. Thank you, comrade. Thank you for inviting me to this interview. I'm really excited to share with you about my journey to become from a doctor in public health to an actress and aspiring playwright. So basically I've been living in England. I'm originally from Finland and I did my PhD in Finland. So it was about cancer survivors and work, how to help cancer survivors to return back to work without difficulties. And then after I graduated, I moved to England and I had a career in public health research, specializing in severe mental health conditions, cancer and other long-term conditions, and employment specifically, or yeah. So I did really well, but but since I was a child, I always was really interested in playwriting and acting, and I wrote my own plays, and then I got my cousins and everyone to kind of play on to play a role in my plays, and we invited our parents and family to watch them. And I was in a youth theatre, but I was a good student at school. So and there is no any creatives in my family.
That's why you have
So
done PhD
yeah,
because you were a good student, right? So I
yeah.
can get
So
it.
yeah. So it's just that they kind of didn't understand it, and then they kind of like, oh, it's just a waste. Why would you go to drama school? Just get the degree and get the real job, to say.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
many times it's not
Mm.
like that is considered real job, even though I don't know anyone who works as hard as people in like creative industry, because it's so competitive. So basically that's what I did, and I did really well in my studies, and I moved to England. And it wasn't I really found it interesting and kind of creative in a way, because you have to create all these like research projects, and then also like share your ideas with students and your colleagues, and get funding. So it's also really competitive industry, but then kind of that dream of becoming an actor kind of never left me completely. And then I just, like, to the personal crises, I just decided that life is too short, and I applied to a drama school here in London and I got in, and I was still working like part-time at the university, working as a senior lecturer and
Mm.
also doing research.
Mm.
Yeah. So and then I just, I mean, I did my studies, graduated in drama school, and yeah, so
Kind of, can you
it's
share
been
any significant moments or realizations that led you to this decisions? Because I have seen a lot of people. If we talk about that, I am on a change my field, my profession. So they say, why? What happened with this? What's wrong with you? You need to face a lot of difficulties if you are on a change your profession, right? So did you face any kind of difficulty, or who motivated you?
Yes, yeah. So I mean, it's just because when you're young and you make these like really important decisions about
You are still
what you're
young.
going to study and where you want to work and all that. So it's just that if you don't really get any support for that, it's kind of difficult. So I mean, yeah. luckily I kind of like when I moved that did that transition. So I mean I had good close friends and some family members who supported me, and it took a while for my father to to be honest with you, to accept this, because he was always really proud. Oh, okay, you are a doctor, and so, and but I think my mother was more understanding, kind of,
Hey.
yeah, like, why would you do that?
Hmm.
And yeah, and then it's probably one of the most difficult industries to get to break into. Creative industries, like anything that you kind of like expecting, that you do what you want to do, but at the same time you have to find supporters or people who pay you to do what you want to do, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I mean, and then during
China,
COVID,
are you
like,
satisfied where you are right now?
sorry.
Are you satisfied that where you are right now?
Well, so okay, so I mean, about my play, so I wrote that during COVID. So, and then obviously because there wasn't any opportunities to get it on stage during, because of pandemic. So I kind of like put it on rest, and I wrote the first version in a matter of like 8 days. It's called Forgiveness, and it's about childhood trauma and kind of difficult relationship between a mother and a daughter. So yeah, and then I did use my experience in studying cancer or psychosocial aspects of cancer. So, and how does it affect on your whole family and everything when you get, so it's not only you who has cancer, it's also your family and your
Yeah,
friends,
yeah.
who really kind of find it difficult. So, and they have their own kind of trauma to go through. So so basically the main character Tessa, so she hears from her father that her mother is terminally ill with cancer, and she hasn't seen her mother like for nearly 20 years, and she's already married and living in London. And so she's kind of like, so it's all about kind of like this kind of self-realization and kind of like a battle that we all kind of go through in ourselves during difficult times, kind of like all these like the grief of like losing your mother, like because of cancer, and I'm that shock, and also kind of coming in terms of accepting what happened, because many times you hear about these people who kind of, that we all carry these kind of traumatic experiences within ourselves,
I got
that
your point. What you are talking about. China, how do you
sorry.
believe your background in public health informs or influences your approach? I mean, to acting and playwriting, particularly in addressing social issues or conveying messages through your work as well.
Sorry.
I'm asking about that. How do you believe your background in public health informs your approach to acting and playwriting?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess it's kind of like because I have also studied like psychology, so it's more about, kind of those, like how do you deal with all these like traumatic experiences? How do you deal with what happened to you? Then also kind of like, family relationships. That's, I find really interesting. And especially those kind of like difficult relationships. And I think the most difficult ones are also those that are closest to you. So, and yeah, like many times your parents. So those kind of themes I find really interesting. And also the, kind of being severely ill. How does it affect on you, your choices, and, and then especially like life-threatening illnesses like cancer,
Mm.
because it's such a shock. and your life changes. Like for my PhD, I interviewed like people with cancer and kind of how difficult those experiences were and how traumatic it is in a way to be diagnosed, that once you live your life like normally, raise your kids, go to work, and and then suddenly it kind of feels that everything, all of your future is taken away from you. So I think that kind of I want to kind of explore in my work.
All right. Taina, as someone with a diverse background, how do you balance your artistic pursuits with your expertise in public health? Do you see any intersections between the two fields in your creative endeavors?
Yeah, so obviously it's very difficult industry to get into, and but it's just that so you kind of like just have to kind of believe in yourself and your skills, and kind of that you have something unique to provide. And and only like during the last year I have started getting like more work as an actor. And so I guess it's just that also because I do have this degree, because I was already older when I get into this industry. So, and I thought I was the only one, but recently, I have met other people who kind of made that career change like later in life. But so it's just that it kind of helped me, like, because, many times you're young when you get into this industry, you don't really know who you are. You don't really and then you kind of, because it's so hard. So you kind of so competitive that you give up and get another work. But I did the vice versa. I did the other way. So, but I kind of like carried on working in that field during COVID as well. I was managing like a test centers like for COVID, so I could use my skills like when there wasn't work as an actor. And then also I have done like a research funding evaluation as a consultant for European Commission and other organizations. So so I'm kind of like, so I've been lucky in a way because I have this skill, and I can still I could carry on like working in that field while I was doing that transition from becoming a full-time actor. So so it definitely and of course, when you are a bit older and you get into very competitive industries, kind of, you know who you are, you have more life experience, so it's easier in a way, I would think.
Anna, can you share insights into how your experiences as a doctor in public health have shaped the characters or themes in your plays?
I think it's just that it's more about kind of those experiences that I have done research, like, because we did I have done a lot of like interviews, like with people with long-term conditions like severe mental health conditions and also cancer. And so this other character in my play, Tessa's mother, who is battling with cancer. So I did use those kind of my research experience in creating that character and how she feels, how she reacts, what she does. So I mean, like knowing like what kind of pathway there usually is, like once you've been diagnosed. So and then also like severe mental health conditions in the terms of like trauma, or traumatic experiences, and how to overcome those. So I have definitely been able to use my research and kind of like my experience in that field in terms of creating characters for my stories.
Good enough. Anna, what challenges have you encountered while transitioning into the world of acting and playwriting? And how have you overcome them?
So I guess it's just that, because it's just that it's, because once you get like a PhD, you just apply for a job, and then and then you get into that career path. But in terms of acting, it's not that straightforward. It's not like that you can be like, that one day you will, I mean, obviously, when you get more experience and you get more contacts, you have more opportunities, but it's not that. It's kind of like really unpredictable career path, which many people kind of probably, if you don't really have a passion for the career as an actor, so you kind of can't handle it because it's too stressful. And also if you have family to raise or commitments, so it's just that it's very difficult when you not know where your next job is going to come from. So, I mean, you don't know. So it's just that you just have to keep applying for jobs. And then sometimes it's like a couple of days or only one day of work. Then you might get like, I start filming a mini series on Friday. So that is like 6 days of work. So, I mean, yeah, so it's just that there's not kind of like once you are a doctor, for instance, or any other job, like a real job. So you kind of like have to, so you have like a contract for, several years or even permanent contract, but it's not the case in acting at all. So that you always have this like a really short, period of time, you get work. And then it's very difficult to balance those like financial necessities and also work. So that's why it's been many actors, maybe 95% have another job like that, pays the bills, and but it's sometimes difficult to find that kind of flexible work. So I mean, for me, it's been that I have that consultancy work that I can do. So and I have occasionally also like worked in sales, kind of like for short periods of time. So just to kind of, especially at the beginning when it was really hard. So, and then also because of COVID, basically having 2 to 3 auditions a week suddenly went like on zero in a matter of days.
Then with the passage of time, you get overcome all the challenges, right?
Sorry?
And with the passage of time, you get all the challenges. You get to overcome on all the challenges you have been faced in your life. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm getting motivation from your side.
Sorry?
I'm getting motivation from your side.
Yeah. So it's just that you learn in that process. It's been a journey, and I think life as such is a journey, So it's just that, I mean, I have learned so much about myself, especially when, you're writing a story. So it's just that writing is such a lonely, I mean, it's not like you just like writing and you just there with your characters and with the story. But, acting is obviously different. It's really much like teamwork, and then finding those contacts and being good in networking and very good like social skills. So they are quite different, like, in terms of like, the type of work it is like in daily basis. But I find it, but you do learn a lot about yourself and especially in writing and about kind of, and I didn't realize when I started this journey that is going to be like, that difficult, that hard. So, and then you just like follow your passion and then you kind of, so I mean, I'm really like proud of myself that I'm kind of like stronger than I thought that I was. Or maybe I became stronger during this process. Yeah.
How old are you?
Sorry?
How old are you?
How old?
Yeah.
I'm 52.
You are the motivation, I must say. All right. Thank you so much
Okay,
for
thank
joining us
you.
today, Taina. It was a wonderful having you here, and
Oh, thank you.
from your
It
experience.
was lovely to speak with you.
Sorry,
Okay. All right.
what
Thank
did you
you.
say?
Thank you. Yes. So thank you for taking time to speak with me.
But
It's been a
actually,
pleasure.
but before we wrap up, is there anything you would like to share with our audience, or any message you would like to share? Leave them.
Yeah, I guess it's just, you know, I mean, whatever you kind of feel in your heart that you want to do, you should just follow your own intuition and kind of, you know, because it's just that you always, if it's really something that you love to do, whatever it is, you will find your way eventually, even though sometimes it might be hard. So that's all that I want to say.
Thank you once again, Taina. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. Take care. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.